Right here on the screen, I have three people you could probably recognize: Tony Robbins, Jay Shetty, and Leila Hamosi. Jay Shetty went from being the kid who was overlooked to becoming one of the most listened to voices of our generation. Tony Robbins grew up in poverty with an abusive mom and is now the leading motivational speaker who has fed over 1 billion people and owns hundreds of different private ventures. And lastly, Leila Hamosi, my girl. Layla went from a party with jail time to now owning Acquisition with her partner, Alex, and is inspiring millions of other entrepreneurs. And now, the reason that I want to mention these three people is because they all had one thing in common, and it was a delusional sense of self-belief. We're so quick to call people crazy when they dare to think bigger, but when it works, we call them genius. And it's just the same idea for you and I, it's just at a different stage. And now, every great thing that exists was once seen as delusional. Like if you think about airplanes, delusional. Talking to someone through a piece of glass, delusional. And talking to robots, so we know what we are doing, was thought as completely delusional. It was a bug. But someone believed enough to try. Like literally all of our beliefs stem from the belief of if we can do it or not. If you do not believe that you could drive, you would not get in a car and try to drive it. If you did not believe that you could build that business, you would never try. So with that being said, today I want to talk about the radical power of delusional self-belief and a few tricks of how you can build this muscle up within you. And for those of you who are new here, hi, my name is Izzy and welcome to my channel, Creality. I believe that we all have so much more power and capability to create and change our lives than we often imagine. And the point of my channel is to just help inspire you in any ways that I can to go about and create a life that is not only good to help fulfill you, but also help others. So with that being said, let's get into it. Now, I'm not saying to go jump out of a plane with no parachute because you believe in yourself and that you will survive. Because some things, like the laws of gravity, have rules. But when it comes to creation, there's literally an infinite amount of possibilities. And if we have the power to choose what we believe in, and believing in limitations and not believing in them takes the same amount of willpower, why would we not intentionally choose the one that is going to help us create our dream life? I like the saying, we get to choose our hard because being stuck is hard, but so is growth. Now, being delusional is my favorite hard because delusion gives you access to the version of hard that builds you into who you are meant to become. And now, here's the thing that I think most people get wrong. It's like they think delusion is about ignoring reality, but it's not. It's about refusing to let your current reality define your future. It's about holding a vision so strongly that your actions start bending reality towards it. Delusion isn't about closing your eyes. It's about seeing a reality that hasn't shown up yet and then walking like it already has. And I'm not saying either that there won't be days where you feel like a turd on the sidewalk and you can't do anything, but we have the power of choice. We have the power to turn around those days and choose to go about and create despite the disbelief that we might feel. Because every time that you choose to believe it's something bigger than your current circumstances, you are reprogramming your brain to expect more. You are literally wiring your nervous system for possibility instead of limitation. Like think about it like this. Your brain doesn't actually know the difference between imagination and reality. And which is actually crazy because neuroscience even proves this. Like when athletes visualize themselves running faster, their brain fires off the same signals as if they were physically running. And when you imagine yourself succeeding, your body begins to prepare for it like it's already real. And your subconscious starts rewiring and your nervous system begins to expect it. And that's why delusional people move differently, because they carry a conviction before there's evidence. Like, you know those moments where you're just really, really sure something's bound to happen or like it's already yours? And this is the state that we want to enter ourselves into when it comes to faith, believing before seeing. And you know, belief is not passive. Belief is an active force that shapes your identity, your actions, and the opportunities that appear in your life. If you believe that you are capable, you act in alignment with that belief. You put yourself in rooms you normally wouldn't step into, you take risks others avoid, and you notice opportunities that fear would have blinded you from. So whether you choose belief or doubt, your brain will find evidence to prove you right. If you believe, I'll never make it, you will notice every failure, every setback. But if you believe, I'm unstoppable, you'll notice every win, every opportunity, every open door. Like it's the same reality, but a completely different experience depending on the story that you choose. And that's why delusion is powerful, because delusion isn't about closing your eyes to reality. It's about opening your eyes to a reality that has not yet happened. And here's where it gets even deeper, because belief isn't just something that you generate on your own. And in fact, I think when we try to do everything on our own and like it's all on self, we end up burnt out. And the reason that self-belief is so powerful is because it's connected to something greater. God lives within all of us, and through harnessing and realizing this, we seriously can achieve anything. And the next point that I want to cover is about the power that God gives us through belief. The divine energy that created galaxies also runs through your veins. That's why belief can feel so supernatural, because it is. You were wired to co-create with God. And when we move towards a higher consciousness, our belief within ourselves gets stronger. And when you tap into that, when you stop just thinking that it's you against the world, and you realize it's God flowing through you, belief stops being exhausting and starts being natural. And you stop asking, can I really do this? Like, can I? And you start declaring, I was made to do this. And here's what I've come to realize is that belief isn't just something you generate by trying harder or hyping yourself up or forcing confidence. Like, if it was only about willpower, no one would ever struggle with doubt. Like, we'd all just decide to believe and be like, yeah, I can do anything. But that's not how it works. Belief was never meant to come from self alone. I believe true belief flows from God. Think about this. The same God who created everything, who spoke stars into existence, looked at the world and decided that it needed you. Not another version of you, not the you that fits into everyone else's boxes, but you as you are meant to become. There are no coincidences within the universe, and it's definitely not random. And that's what I like to call intentional design, because everything that God creates and designs is intentional. And so that means the vision, dreams, and callings placed within you were not accidents, and they were rather assignments. When you doubt yourself, you're not just doubting you're doubting the one who created you and put that vision in your heart. And faith isn't just about believing in God out there. It's about realizing that that divinity is within you. That divine power flows through you. When you lean into that, belief stops being exhausting and starts being inevitable, because it's not about you trying to hold the weight of the world. It's about letting God's strength flow through you. And I like to think of it this way, like self-belief is really God belief. It's not about saying, oh, look at me, like I can do all this on my own. It's about saying, if God placed that desire in me, then God also equipped me to carry out on it. And it's not because you're powerful enough to move every mountain yourself, but rather because belief connects you to the one who is capable of moving every single mountain. And when you live from that truth, creation becomes natural. You stop overthinking whether you're qualified, and you start walking as if it is already yours. You start speaking your vision and acting through your vision, living like your vision is already written. And in doing so, you align yourself with creation, with the frequency of creation itself. And of course, God gave us free will, which means we get to choose what we align with. You can align with fear, or you can align with faith. You can align with doubt, or you can align with destiny. Both choices exist, but only one of them unlocks the life that you were born for. And when you align with God's belief in you, your imagination becomes a doorway. The same way God imagined creation before speaking it into existence, you imagine your future and then begin speaking in it, walking in it, and creating it into reality. We were made in the image of God, our creator, which means that we were made to create. And this is why belief is so secret. And when you choose to believe, you're not just giving yourself permission to dream, you're honoring the vision and you're honoring the dream that God has placed within you. And when you choose to act on your vision, you're not just chasing ambition, you're partnering with the divine to bring something new into the world. So hear me on this. It's God gave you the vision. It wasn't so you could sit back and doubt it. It was so you couldn't shrink yourself and say, oh, maybe that dream's too big for me. If God trusted you with the dream, it was because you were the one who was capable enough to carry it out. And not in your own strength, but rather in partnership with the strength that already lives within you. And that's why belief feels supernatural, because it is. It's not just mindset or positive thinking, like it's spirit, it's God in motion through your life. And when you learn to lean into that, there is no limit to what you can create. The moment that you decide to align with God's power, belief becomes less about what if I fail and more about how could I not succeed if I was designed to do this. And now I want to talk about what to do when people don't believe in you. Because the truth is that people's disbelief has nothing to do with you, but rather the limitations that they have placed within their own mind. Because people will project their own doubts onto you because your belief exposes where they gave up on themselves. And isn't it interesting how sometimes, like when we think of doing something, our first reaction is think, well, how will others perceive you? Like, what if they think I'm cringy? What if they think I'm lame or stupid? And I want to acknowledge that this response is completely normal, because as humans, we thrive in community. And back in the caveman days, if you didn't fit in or belong to a tribe, like that could possibly mean death. And some parts of our lizard brains you can't turn off. But we can manage the internal criticism of how we perceive others will view us. Because the truth is that the perception that matters the most to you is the one that you have of yourself. And a lot of the time, we project others' voices into our own heads. It's our own limiting beliefs disguising themselves as someone else's words. And now, of course, sometimes that doubt is actually projected from others onto us. And that's why I believe it's so important to keep it to ourselves or the people that we know are truly going to support us when we work on creating something. And that's something I'll circle back to, because I just want to first share a personal story of how I received someone else's limiting beliefs and how I decided not to accept that as my truth. So when I first started posting on YouTube and my YouTube journey, I remembered I told a few people and their response was, oh, YouTube is so hard to grow on, but I knew that was their perception of reality, not mine. And I believe that there are an infinite amount of possibilities. So why would I not choose to believe in the possibility that my channel would grow fast? And in holding on to that belief, my third video in, I got 150,000 views. And growth that quickly, like people would be like, oh, that's unheard of. But like, again, this didn't even shock me because I have trained my mind to expect things like that, to expect things out of the ordinary to happen. And now I want you to think to yourself, what is a time someone projected their limiting beliefs onto you and you chose to keep running with that dream? I'd love to hear you guys' stories in the comments. I love reading you guys' comments. Like I always read them, my DMs too. Because when someone shares that they don't believe in your idea, instead of internalizing it and thinking that reflects your worth, say to yourself, what does that reveal about their own personal beliefs? And now back to what I shared earlier about keeping your dreams to yourself and the few, is because when you do keep it to yourself, you limit the projection from others. Even if they don't verbally discourage you, sometimes that energy can. Like, have you ever told someone something you're working on, they just kind of give you that stare, like, oh, yeah. And it's like, yeah, we don't want that. We want to limit that reaction. And I think keeping things to ourselves is, like, to a certain extent, also projects our energy. Like, this is your dream and your baby. And as a baby, you have to protect it. But as I said earlier, I do believe that it's beneficial to share what we're working on to a select few. Like someone who is not only to help support you, but keep you accountable. Because the power of accountability is unmatched. And there's actually this study that says we have a 95% chance of achieving our goals when we have an accountability partner with regular check-ins. And for me, my accountability partner is my boyfriend, Brandon. I tell him what I'm working on and the deadlines, and we have now made it a regular thing to have like weekly check-ins in on our progress. And literally, if you think about all the greats throughout history, you can imagine the backlash that they have gotten for what they wanted to create it. The doubt they received, and now if they would have listened, they would have never been able to create. Protect your self-delusion and never let anyone take that away from you. And now I want to give you 3 ways to build the kind of self-belief that doesn't shake you when life tests you, because belief isn't just an idea, it's a muscle. And like any muscle, it grows stronger the more you train it. And so the first one that I want to start with is micro wins, because micro wins serve as building evidence for who you are becoming. Because self-belief doesn't just start with the big and flashy achievements, rather that it starts with the small private moments where nobody's watching. When you say you're going to wake up and you go on that run and go for a run, and you actually do, and you're not just exercising your body, you're training your brain to trust your word. Because every time that you can keep a promise to yourself, you're collecting evidence that you are reliable, capable, and disciplined. And like, think of each follow through like layer your brick. One brick by itself doesn't look like much, but keep stacking them. You've built a foundation strong enough to carry anything that you want to create. And here's the beautiful part. Your brain literally begins to expect success because you've proven it so many times in small ways that it no longer feels foreign or like something strange. Success becomes your new normal. And the next one that I want to talk about is upgrading your environment with surrounding yourself with proof that it's possible, because your environment is either feeding your belief or feeding your doubt. There's no neutral ground. Like, if you're surrounded by people who constantly talk small, think small, or live small, you're also going to live small, and it's really hard to keep your faith alive and to think big. Like right now, I'm in a chapter of my life where I'm very selective and I'm very careful of who I give my time to. And it's not because I'm mean or like weird, but rather because I know how important it is to surround yourself with big thinkers. And for me, it's been a little bit of a struggle to find other big thinkers, but like whatever, because like I know that it's just a phase in my life, and the perfect people who are meant to come in my life will come in my life at the exact moment that they're meant to. But Anyways, so when you're around other people who dream unapologetically and who call out the greatness in you, belief starts feeling like the air you breathe. Like it just literally becomes your new normal. And sometimes this might mean making bold choices. It might mean unfollowing accounts that trigger comparison and replacing them with voices that expand your vision. It might mean spending less time with people who drain your energy and more time in rooms where growth feels normal. Because remember, belief is contagious. And if you can't find a space that inspires you, create one. Start conversations that stretch people, like build community with those who want more, because being in the right environment doesn't just change what you believe, it changes what you expect for your life. And now to the third tip that I want to share with you guys is using future visualization to become the version of you that already exists. And here's the truth I think most people miss is that your future self already exists in potential. Every dream you carry is like a seed, and visualization is how you water it. The brain does not know the difference between what's vividly imagined and what's lived out in real time. So when you close your eyes and you see yourself walking across the stage, signing that deal, building that family, or living in that freedom, you're not just pretending, you're teaching your mind and your body for what's to come. And don't just picture it, like feel it. See the colors here, the sounds, imagine the details, like what does it feel like waking up every day as that person? What choices would they make today? The more real you make it in your inner world, the more natural it becomes in your outer world. And before long, your subconscious starts asking if and starts preparing for when. And when you put these three tips together, like stacking micro wins, upgrading your environment, and embodying your future through visualization, you stop waiting for permission to believe in yourself. And you create an inner ecosystem where belief just thrives naturally. And once belief becomes your default state, nothing outside of you can convince you otherwise. Also, you guys, sorry for this interruption, but as you may know, Illume Project's site is still officially live, so you can go shop at illumeprojects.com. We have different hoodies, long sleeves, as well as short sleeve shirts, and your support would mean the world to me. So yeah, you can support and shop at illumeprojects.com. All right, let's go back to the video. Belief grows in isolation, but it multiplies in community. When you're on this journey alone, it's easy to get caught in your own head. You start second-guessing your vision, replaying old doubts, wondering if maybe the dream really is too big. But the moment that you step into a room, even a virtual one, where people are speaking the same language of faith, growth, and possibility, something shifts like that. And suddenly, belief doesn't feel so heavy, and suddenly you realize that you're not the only one who's daring to think bigger. And that is the true power of community. It normalizes what once felt impossible, and it reminds you that you're not crazy for dreaming. You might just be ahead of the people who aren't there yet and who haven't started dreaming like you yet. And being around people who refuse to settle creates a level of accountability and momentum that you cannot create alone. Because as I said earlier, your environment will either shrink your vision or expand it. A supportive community expands it. It calls you higher, and it reflects back to you the version of yourself you sometimes forget to see. And when you have people in your corner cheering you on, challenging you, and reminding you what's possible, your self-belief grows 10 times faster. That's why I've been building a space for you guys, because I know how important it is to have people who actually get it. People who aren't going to laugh at your dreams, but rather feel them. People who will hold you accountable, and not because they are judging you, but rather because they believe in you and they want the best possible outcome for you. And here's the thing. Movements don't start with millions of people. They start with small groups of visionaries who decide to believe together. And that's what I want this community to be. I want it to be a place where your delusion doesn't get dismissed, but it rather gets celebrated. A place where faith, action, and accountability meet, and you're reminded daily that you're not walking this road alone. Because yes, you can do incredible things on your own, but with the right people walking beside you, you can create a ripple effect that reaches so much further than you could have ever possibly imagined. So if there's one thing that I want you to take away from this video, is that you are not crazy for believing in more, and you're not delusional in a negative sense. Like, you are divinely designed to create beyond what you have seen before. The world has always been changed by people who dare to believe when no one else did. And the same power that raised up visionaries throughout history is also alive within you right now. And here's the truth. Belief is a practice. It's not something you just hear once and suddenly master. It's something that you grow daily. It's something that you strengthen through the choices you make, the way you speak over yourself, and the actions you take even when it feels scary. And I don't want you to finish this video and just like, oh, temporary motivation, just like move on. Like, I want you to apply these things. And that's also why I have a free workbook for you guys on healing the past and writing the future. And inside, I've included different exercises, journaling prompts, and practical tools that will help you take everything that we talked about today and how to really look at the things in your past and have it serve you as something that fuels you. Because transformation doesn't happen just from inspiration. It happens when you combine inspiration with action, and that workbook is your first step. So when this video ends, don't just click away. Click the link in the description, download your free copy, and give yourself the gift of starting this journey fully supported if you are just starting it. And if you commit to working through it, I promise you will look back weeks from now and realize that you're carrying a level of belief that you didn't even know was possible. And remember this, your future self is waiting on you to believe today. So take that step into delusion, step into faith, and step into the vision that God placed within you. And let's create the life that you were meant for. And I love you guys so much, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Never forget that I believe in you guys so much, and here's to creating. I will see you when I see you, so yeah. All right, mwah, bye.